Just got to get the energy flowing. And I wanted to come by and talk to y'all. We keep focusing on these zodiac signs, which is fine. It's still cool. But the understanding of energies and influence is the celestial way. You know, each celestial body has its own influence, and it people respond or react to it based on the aspects of in their charts, whether or not they have placements there, and a myriad of things, the aspects. I'm pulling chakra stones right now. So when it comes to the light work, the shadow work, the repair of the soul in general, and what our current state, the current state of our spirit has influenced us to work on, there are certain things that are going to be collectively of topic, and a lot of times because it is media, that Greek goddess that relates to, you know, the media, things that you view, Pisces, the subconscious, that's where you're going to get these messages, these nuances, these influences that crop up certain things that are internal. This is why you do see the synchronicities, the numbers, hear the lyrics, and they resonate, because it is a trigger to something specific the soul has to recognize. So we do have the third eye chakra here. Now this very clearly will, hopefully, if you're asking for the awareness and also the understanding of what you're receiving, this will be a very, very important time for you. When dealing with energies, dealing with chakras, dealing with Reiki specifically, because I do administer Reiki, I do practice. The third eye is focal, no matter what chakra needs your assistance. Everything has to filter through here. Just like for you to respond to certain things, you have to see it, or it has to come into this area in order for you to acknowledge it. So if you feel hairs raise up on your skin, your brain and all this third eye area will be lit up, and it will alert you and send waves to everywhere else and signals everywhere else it needs to go. So the third eye is the most prominent chakra that anybody needs to deal with, anybody needs to work with. And it's the focal point, because by now, if you're not seeing clearly, I hope I didn't flip nobody off or talk about nobody mama in ASL. We're not going there. But anyway, so before you really get into anything, the way that you see, the way that you perceive is going to always come to the focal point of your transition into the next level, next stage of life. So what you're seeing, you believe to a certain extent, or is a part of your reality. It's something that you're consciously aware of. Even if it's falsity, you're having a recognition of it being false. That is at the level of perception that you're currently at. So still, everything has to go through the third eye. And we have this here, this carnelian. This is aligned, in this particular sense, it's the root. So there has been a lot of things coming up about our foundations, how we care for our human bodies, how we make ourselves feel safe and stable. And if you follow the chakra series or anything where I'm talking about chakras, and recently, I always talk about feeling safe no matter where you go. So being introverted matters not if you know that you're safe. Your being is safe, your temple is safe, and everywhere you go, you have this sense of safety. You have this this sense of security and being grounded in who you are. It has a lot to do with how you step out into this world and present yourself. If you have an energy or a vibration of fear, you will be targeted to be robbed, sexually assaulted, mistreated. It's bringing up those specific patterns, those specific frequencies that are attracted and attached to those types of vibes. They will be the opposite. If a person is afraid they're going to get robbed, people who are out here robbing, stealing, being deceitful and stuff will be attracted to you. So there has to be an innate sense of safety, even if no one ever provided it for you, even if no one has ever protected you or defended you or made you feel safe. You grew up in a broken home. These are things you have to establish for yourself where you are right now in this life. Making sure that your home is somewhere that you feel comfortable, that you're in, and taking that with you. When you leave, keep your safety of home at heart, because you'll always be able to find your center. You'll always be able to find your groundedness. The things that you can do at home, make sure that there's an equivalent out here in this regular world, so that if you start to feel frazzled, if you start to feel anxious, if you start to feel unraveling, like you're unraveling, unnerved at any point in time, that you can ground this energy into something tangible that you can do anywhere, that nobody has to know that that's what you're doing. You're bringing yourself back to center. Then here we have this yellow jade that's aligning with the solar plexus, and it's raw cut. Okay, so this is what you have to take outward. Like this is what you have to use in front of you. That solar plexus, that root chakra stone is what you have to feel within your physical body, and behind the scenes where nobody can see and no one has access to, the focal point will be that solar plexus chakra. And this is immensely powerful, because this is where you get that courage and that willpower. Everybody has free will, right? So this is a very willful place that these decisions and choices are coming from. The things that make you uncomfortable have to go up from root, and they have to go through that solar plexus. But before you make the choice, you're going to see, you're going to perceive what certain things are. And then you're going to filter it through your root chakra and think, damn, is this safe? Does this put me in a precarious situation? Does this threaten my safety at all? Does this threaten my stability? There's that question that comes up with these new environments, these new places, these new people, these new things that we're implementing, we're listening to, that are coming into our atmosphere. And your solar plexus is where you're going to ultimately make that decision, along with the third eye, to see it clearly. If ever you cannot see something clearly, ask for the clarity on that thing. What is this? What is this asking me to pay attention to? Or what part of me is apprehensive about this? What is it triggering? You have to start to ask yourself. You can't ask nobody else. You can get a reading. You can pay for a reading, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, no one knows you like you know you. And if you need help, then book a reading, and it'll be a soul session. It'll be more than just flipping cards and telling you about everything else but what you actually need. The guise of healing is usually because people don't want to do it on their own. They're usually forced to by dealing with people who put them in the situations they've attracted unfavorably, and they learn the hard way. So somebody who has learned the hard way is telling you that there is an easier way to do this. There is a way to start to pinpoint where these holes in the aura may be, where the what the root of a matter really is. And it may have nothing to do with the situation topically. You may see it a certain way, but it's only surface level. So when you start to break down those layers behind the veil and start to get through those sheer curtains, and then things start to open up and clarity starts to pour through, the light starts to pour through, it's like, damn, it's not as dark as it was. It's not as ominous as it felt it was at first. But you actually have now a better point of view. So right now we're working on honing vision. That's not very popular. People want to hear what they want to hear. People want to see what they want to see. It makes them feel good. It makes them comfortable. Creatures of habit, creature comforts. These are things that are coming to mind. And at the moment that there's a shift, a change, some people can't handle that. And we saw that with the pandemic. We saw how those comforts unnerved so many people. The people who had to sit down for months, whether by illness or by quarantine or being laid off, furloughed, whatever, having not spent the time with themselves, being deprived of human interaction. They did not know what they were made of or who they were without these things being adjectives to their life, to their existence. And that's problematic. It's very problematic because it's been a trend for so long to be entertained. Media, the psyche, have that so inundated with stimuli that when it's time to turn the light off, too many people are afraid of the dark. And if it's your home and you're not acclimated to the dark, you will trip over things on your way to wherever you're going within your own home, your temple. That's as simple as I can make it. But when you're acclimated to the dark, or you're very familiar with your own surroundings and your inner being and your inner core, you don't trip over things. You'll move out of the way. I know that's there. I have an awareness. I have seen it. I have acknowledged it. And I can sense its presence even with the lights off. We ain't tripping. I absolutely had no clue what these messages were going to be about. I just got the urge, press play, just tell them. And it was like, tell them what? I was like, you'll know. All right, cool. This is this inner dialogue. Me and my higher self, we've been doing a lot of work. And it's like, this is what has come up. Well, in alignment with what was on my mind. So, you're wondering why certain things aren't coming, or you can feel the shift. You know the blessings are coming. Ooh, I got 3 7s. Ooh, shit. Okay. I'm gonna stop there for now. I'm gonna just pull this bottom card off. 10 of Pentacles, right? I was talking about your home and knowing what's in your home. knowing what's in your temple, what's in your being. This is what I mean. The Merkaba of Ascension. There's different pathways all through. I don't know who studies Kabbalah, but I have. Just to broaden my perspective on how others perceive energy or their level of understanding of it. So in knowing about these different aspects, and the Angelarium Oracle card deck that I do have touches bases on all 10, 11 of these points. There is an empty space. I think it's here. Or is it here? It's an empty space, and it's called In.Tu.It. There is it's like a suspension of sorts. It's like if you're ever in a room and it's quiet, there's still noises, even though they're very, very subtle. They could be background noises. They could be the hum of something plugged up. It could be anything. But then all of a sudden you may get a dead silence, and it alerts you. Or even I've seen pictures of a room where the walls are so soundproof that putting a person in there, after, I think the longest a person has stayed in there was like 45 minutes, because they could not take the silence, because it was deafening. To hear nothing, to hear absolutely nothing. That is a very scary thing to some people, to be in a state of emptiness. So this is why we're in a time of consumption, whether it's by viewing, watching, reading, listening, seeing, interacting, talking. There has to be this exchange in order for people to feel like they're not going fucking mad. So this is what came to my attention. The reason why a lot of people on this path are not going where they know and feel message. That's fire. The reason why a lot of people are not going where they know and feel they should be is because you do have to let people go. You do have to empty out your space. People you've known for a very long time. People you have confided in. People you love. People who you support, who may support you. This is the tricky part about the universe and the tricky part about the creator. Because you're only responsible for yourself and how dedicated you are to living, fully living, especially in the embodiment of the potential you have, right? They're not going with you. And if the thought of them being out of your life is so jarring that you cannot continue, you will be stripped. You will be capped. You will be where you'll make it to a certain point, but you won't go all the way. It's just the nature of it. There's a very slim window, and a lot of people want to divulge the information and get as many of the people that they love to come with them. A lot of the communities that we have made here, we want to have as many people get through the door as possible. There's a split happening, and the reality of what hell is and what heaven is to each their own. And you cannot make someone ready for a message that they're not ready to receive. And you'll see that those types of messages are not going to get many views. It could be the person delivering it, it could be the channel, it could be the exposure, the algorithm, whatever you want to blame it on. But when people are in alignment, they're in fucking alignment. I care not about the popularity and all that other shit that people use, and their tricks and trying to get around it. They can, but those who have ears will hear. So it's no more of this trying to teach people, trying to give them the information, because then they recite it to others and they garble the message, and people receive it like this, where the important factors are left behind, and they take this and they give it out to others. It's only half of the story. It's never the full girth of it. You being the one receiving the message, a lot of times from your own reservoir of guides, your own connection to spirit, because your temple's tuned in. They can't be the messenger that you are. to reach the people that it needs to reach. If it's coming from this person, it will be distorted because it's not from the source. So being comfortable with the silence, feeling safe wherever you are in your being, you're going to have to start making those tough decisions. And your perception will again take a turn and fine tune itself. And you'll start to see what comfort really is, what home really is, where you're very, very much welcomed, where you don't feel out of sorts, where you don't feel that you have to hold any of you back. And the more that you're yourself, things will come out of you that you're like, damn, I didn't know I was like that. I didn't know that was a part of me. I didn't know I could do these things. Or my personality has shifted in this way, that I am funny, I am sociable, I am X, Y, and Z. Because the environments you were in was a suppressant. It was like, it's like going to a man-made beach. I'm getting the word generic versus brand name, and not speaking about clothes or anything, but I'm speaking about the efficacy of something. So you go to like a man-made beach, and there's sand and there's water, or you can go to the fucking ocean. There's a difference between this generic man-made concoction, something that was contrived, versus paradise that you don't just see. It's not just a seeing, it's a knowing. It's a feeling, like you know that you're here. That root chakra is very much connected to the environment that you're in, that is the real deal, and you know it when you feel it. All of you just starts to shed this type of stress up off of you once you understand that you've put yourself in places where you've been given generic shit, generic connections, generic advice, generic friendship, generic love. These things are not the real deal. They're replicas. They're similar. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like there's a distortion. It's not verbatim. It's oh gosh. So you'll be welcomed in new spaces, but first you have to remove yourself from the spaces that you aren't welcome. But the thing is, no one's ever excluded you. I mean, there may have been a sense of loss or a sense of not belonging or not being accepted, not being celebrated, not being fully immersed in these environments, in these connections with these people that you've known for so long. And that's because you're not at home. You're not welcome because it's not where you're supposed to be. And so in knowing what home is supposed to feel like, it's supposed to influence and evoke a particular sense in you. There's this wonder about why certain things that you've planted haven't cultivated full term, why things get terminated prematurely, not even speaking, and it could be figurative or literal. When it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to plants dying, like, damn, I know I'm a very healing person. I do take care of everything in my environment. I'm very good at it. But why do my plants always die? Or animals, or relationships, or situations with jobs that, you know, the contract never gets to a certain point. You don't reach a certain mark, or you don't get this certain promotion. You're cultivating in a space that's not fertile for you because it's not home. It's not somewhere that you need to set up roots. So it's asking you to remove and move yourself energetically, mentally, and then emotionally. I see no emotional cards here. Let me split this deck. Nothing to do with emotion about it. because your emotional self is going to be linked in with your receptivity to the divine. So you're not using emotions in this because it's pointed towards your true north. It's pointed towards where you're really supposed to be going. And it's still fire-based. The only cups card I get is temperance. And that's being done on your behalf. This is why some emotional connections just won't go to a certain point. They will not make it. It's because if it did, you wouldn't go anywhere. So you're being asked to let this shit be mixed on your behalf. You don't have the right formula. You don't have the right recipe. Only this could be done by somebody who is a being that is capable. And it ain't your ass. You don't have it figured out. I don't give a fuck what relationship coach you listen to. You don't have the right stuff to get this to where it's supposed to be. If you love yourself at all, you'll make the decision to immerse yourself into your path, into your craft, into what your heart has been leading you towards. Even if that's at the expense of those social gatherings, that time talking on the phone, that FaceTime, replying to emails, DMs, text messages, whatever. They have to go unread. Because that's where the effort has been going. That's where the time has been going. That's where the energy has been going. And therefore, your shit can't grow. You've been giving your energy out. You've been giving it to people who aren't using it constructively and aren't abundant creators like you are. You have creators, producers, and then you have consumers. And the majority of people that we know are consumers. And I'm not just speaking about producing something to be seen like on YouTube or anything like that. There's something that needs to be created from your mind, your hands, your body, something. Whatever it is that you're doing, you've got it. They don't. And this is a hard concept when it comes to, because it's almost triggering to think that there won't be anyone there. There won't be anyone left if you do the severing of these connections. And it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later. If they align with their path, they need someone to follow the example, to see somebody who has given up the things that are not serving them. And we hear this message so much, but I need you to understand what I mean by this. Very, very specifically. The things that don't serve you. It's like, let's say you're a magician and you're practicing your magic tricks for your friends. They're getting a kick out of it. They're watching you do it, and they're not giving you any constructive feedback. They're not giving you anything that you could actually use. So when it comes to now performing in front of a crowd, when it comes to being in a room full of other magicians, the only thing that you have is experience with people who knew nothing about magic. It was fanfare for them. It was entertaining for them. Who you are is entertaining for some of these people. The things that you do, they don't take seriously. They don't hold you reputable. Even if they share your shit, even if they, hey, my friend makes homemade body products, and my friend, she's made a song, she's a singer, and they share your stuff, it's not with the girth or the seriousness or the professionalism that they would share Beyonce shit. Why? Because she's already up there. They find more credence in those motherfuckers that was up there. But it was a time when these motherfuckers didn't have as much talent, and they had people actually believing in what they were doing that got them so far. But they had to start somewhere first and up the ante. Not just performing it in front of, relatives, but now going to talent contests, booking shows, going to events. There was always levels to the shit to an ascension with whatever it is they were supposed to do. And this too. If you stay in these spaces around these people who do not really value what you do, who don't really know what you do and what you're capable of, you seem amazing to them, but they don't know why. They really don't know you like that. And they have no real intention of trying to know, because y'all aren't speaking the same language. But they'll still take information or ideas or whatever and take it back. And it's so convoluted and it's so polluted by the time other people hear that you're in that arena, that you're in that area, that you have this message, because they've heard it half-assed somewhere else. So there's no comparison. It's generic compared to brand name. And it's like, once a person can get their hands on some generic shit, will they really pay full price for the brand name stuff that has a better efficacy and a better point of, it impacts more accurately. If somebody can just pick up a fucking camera, a Canon, and start taking pictures, but you have the real deal equipment and you're showing them angles and you're showing them lighting, you're showing them editing and filters and whatever the fuck, they're gonna take that information, try to use it for their own like little snapshots and stuff. Now they can market themselves as an avid photographer, because they do it less than, less quality, maybe even less price, or still, but they've cultivated this information from you and they're passing it on. You can give somebody advice and they turn around and pass it on to someone else as if they're the enlightened one, as if they're the ascended one, as if they're the ones getting it from a reputable source. You're gonna have to leave these people. I don't care who it is. You will know, because there'll come a point in a conversation when it just drops and it gets stale. It's like a shift in the room, and it's because they really don't have anything to add to you. You've been adding to them. Their quality of life has improved since being in your presence. By all means, come around, friend, best friend, cousin, sister, dad, come on, mom, whatever. There's something that you're adding that they can't produce without you there, that they can't create because they're consumers and not producers. So here comes this Ace of Pentacles. You're about to be given another chance to receive what the fuck you asked for, what you have sensed and known that you have coming. You have already been sent a person, a situation, a circumstance to distract you from your own message, from your own energy, from your own flower bed. If we spend enough time kicking it, you won't think anything about those flowers. You won't prune those roses. You won't pull those weeds. You won't cut that grass. So of course your grass wouldn't look greener, because you're not spending the time to take care of it. You're allowing someone else to consume your time, your energy, your effort. It's like a infiltration. I've seen these, in the card before, but have you seen these people back here? Have you noticed these people? It's a gang of people back there. Now, whether that's where you should be or where they're taking the information, it depends. But we have a pip to a court card. We have 3 sevens. If you don't hear it in the whisper, you're going to hear it in the shout. Because what follows the Ace of Pentacles is you guarding and protecting your shit, your energy, your home. So that's all I wanted to share with this. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave that there. Simmer on the judgment. You have a decision to make.